If you've been looking at Northwest Arkansas to move to, you've been seeing Springdale all over the map. It's pretty big, it's pretty wide. We're covering all the pros and cons of living in Springdale today. I'm Brent.
I'm Alan.
And we are the Living in Arkansas team. Make sure to reach out to us if you have any questions about Northwest Arkansas. We'd love to chat with you, connect you with the right area, and answer any questions that you might have. But let's jump right into it. So Springdale is just north of Fayetteville. It's about 10-15 minutes south of Bentonville. Like we said, it is a wide, it covers mostly there because of 412, Highway 412. Yeah. Is heading east and west, cuts right through Springdale, and it goes, I would say, what, 8 miles wide?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit longer?
Yeah.
And so it's a big space. There's lots of residential homes in this area. There's lots of really good spots, and we want to talk about the pros. And the first thing we want to talk about is just ease of accessibility in getting to the highway, getting to where you need to go. If you need to get to Bentonville or Fayetteville to get to work, there's at the most you're probably going to be under 20 minutes, 15-18 minutes to the highway, depending on how far out in Springdale you are. To get to the highway, then if you're going to Bentonville, it's another 15-20 minutes there. If you're going to Fayetteville, there's some back roads. You're going to be able to get to Fayetteville through some windy back roads, or just jump on the highway and get to where you're going.
So accessibility is so easy from most of Springdale, unless you're really out in the hinterlands, east or west. But I-49 cuts right down the middle of Springdale. 412 cuts right through east to west, so it's really easy to move through Springdale most of the time. Yeah, a little traffic. That's all about traffic.
I mean, that's the con to Springdale, is that you can get stuck behind a lot of lights. If you live here long enough, you're going to learn which roads. If you go down to Tom Tyson or Elm Springs Highway, then it's going to be a lot quicker passageway to the highway.
Yeah. Heading
east and west. East and west in all of Northwest Arkansas can be a little bit more difficult because we have one north-south highway, and then we don't have any east and west highways without lights. So
absolutely. Well, another thing we're talking about is where we're at. So we've kind of done the southeast tour today of Springdale. It's got a wide variety of options there for what's available for all your different needs. As you cross the freeway, there's a lot more new construction, newer neighborhoods, more of the Covenant style neighborhoods that you're seeing pop up more these days. So as you go east, that's the case. As you go west, that's the case, and then more of the east is more established neighborhoods that have been around for a while. But like we say, accessibility, access to whatever you could want to do in the area, access to easily hop on the freeway and go to Fayetteville or Bentonville in about 15-20 minutes from the time you access the freeway. So it's got a lot of pluses.
Yeah, and one thing I want to mention with accessibility is accessibility to a hospital. We're right now on downtown Springdale, Emma Street. This is Old Town right here. There's a hospital not a football field away. Closer to the highway, there's an ER, there's a children's hospital. They're building an orthopedic center right there that's going to be the hub for U of A. So accessibility to healthcare is going to be really convenient and close by. Hopefully you don't need it.
Hopefully you don't need it. I will just mention we would love for you to reach out if you have any real estate needs, want to find out more about the area. One of the things that we pride ourselves on is, as new people are coming to the area, when you arrive, we get together with you, have coffee, kind of talk about what your real estate needs might be, show you around a little bit, give you some information about the area, specific areas that may be important to you and your family that might be the best fit. And just kind of nurture you in any way we can to help you with all your real estate needs. So by all means, when you arrive, or before you arrive, reach out to us, and we'd be happy to meet with you and just show you the area.
Yeah.
So another thing that's really cool about the Springdale area is, from a valuation standpoint, it has maintained value well. As well as is pretty affordable comparatively to some other markets. So if you're in the Fayetteville market or interested in the Fayetteville market near the university, or if you're interested in the Bentonville market near the Bentonville Square and all the goings on in Bentonville, you're going to pay top dollar to be in those areas. Springdale is much more affordable. It's got, I'd say it's grown on a more even keel, not as big a spike in value. So there's still affordability here as far as Northwest Arkansas goes. With all the amenities and accessibility, you can actually still afford to get into a lot of areas in the Springdale market. So
I would add to that is, if you're a DIYer, there's going to be more opportunities to snag a house here in Springdale area that needs some love, and you can add your own stamp all over it. And there's going to be more opportunity in Springdale to get a good deal. I'm not saying you're going to get a great deal where you're going to make $100,000 on the flip. I'm saying that you're going to get a good deal to where you can fix it up, make it your own, and it's going to retain that value of what you had to put into it, so that when you sell it in a few years, you're going to be in the profit.
Yeah, absolutely. At least that's the way the market is today. Who knows tomorrow?
Yeah, who knows?
One of the other things that you wanted to talk about is the bike trail accessibility.
Oh my word! Yeah, the Razorback Greenway, north-south, all the way to Bella Vista, South Fayetteville, cuts right through Springdale. There are a dozen spurs off of the Greenway, cuts right through the Fayetteville Lake Trail Park. It is part of it, actually. And then there's a dozen spurs off to mountain bike trails. There's the Bayari Trail that is fantastic. There's a whole bunch of trails over by, it's East Springdale. I'm blanking on the name right now, but there's a bunch of trails in Springdale that are going to be a great opportunity to get outside, be in the nature, and expose yourself to all those allergies that you may or may not have a problem with. And so it's a really good space. There's right here in downtown, if we go that way a little bit, there's the Razorback Greenway. There's a bike trail right there. There's also some pubs and some coffee houses connected all along the trail. It's a really fun place to just pull off and grab some stuff and rest and relax as you get back on and go back home or wherever you're headed to.
So you mentioned spurs a couple of times with the bike trails, but that reminds me that Parsons.
Oh yeah.
Parsons Stadium's right over here, and that's where the Rodeo of the Ozarks is. Is it Parsons Stadium?
Yeah.
So Rodeo of the Ozarks is there. We've got the Demolition Derby, one of my favorits.
Twice a year.
We go at least once a year, just to go down and see cars get smashed. Woo-hoo,
yeah.
Good times.
It's a lot of fun.
Another thing about being in Springdale, especially in West Springdale, or excuse me, in East Springdale, is we're just a stone's throw over to Beaver Lake.
Oh yeah.
And all the accessibility to Beaver Lake, with Hickory Creek Park being right there. And so it's easy to take the boat down, hop in the lake for the day, and just have a great time getting around the lake.
There's a few marinas you can even go rent a boat. I like doing that because I don't want to maintain a boat. But I like renting it for a half day or day, and just go have a good time in the heat of the summer. And it's a beautiful lake. There's like 500 miles of shoreline in all of Beaver, and that's where we get the bulk of our electricity, is from the Beaver Dam.
And when we rented that boat there for your wife's birthday, that was a blast. Rented a big pontoon boat. It wasn't on Beaver Lake, but not far from here. And rented a big pontoon boat and just took it out for the day with a bunch of friends, and great time. One of my favorite times.
It was a highlight. So another pro to Springdale is all of what it's in Washington County. 99% of Springdale's in Washington County, and Washington County is serviced by Ozarks Electric, and they offer fiber internet anywhere, just about anywhere in Washington County, even outside the city limits, out into the rural areas. They have fiber internet all the way up to a gigabit of speed, 100 megabits a second, whatever
I think that means really fast.
Yeah, wicked fast. More than I need, more than he needs.
Right.
And so if you're working remote, Springdale has you covered, Washington County has you covered.
Now, as far as one of the great points about outer Springdale as you get away from town is a lot of the properties qualify for RD loans. That's a type of loan that is a zero down loan. So it's a federal loan, U.S. government backed, that is for areas that are not quite as developed yet. So you'll get a lot of those addresses, so which allow first-time home buyers a good opportunity to buy zero down, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So one question I wanted to ask you, Alan, is what do you really like about Springdale, Arkansas? What's one thing you really like?
Well, I like the outer edges of Springdale most of all, because we're able to get outside of town and just right outside Springdale and get 5 acres with a creek and a pond. Beautiful. And great property we're building on right now. So, you know, there is still that accessibility here, even though this is not a big city. And when I say that, I don't mean Springdale specifically. I think the population is like 90,000-ish in Springdale. But this whole corridor, this Northwest Arkansas corridor, Benton and Washington counties, they're all just a conglomeration of smaller communities of 80, 90,000 people all sitting next to each other. So you've got that going for you. So it's not a massive single city where you have all the associated problems of large cities. We have some traffic, but it ain't real traffic.
No.
We have a little crime, but it ain't real big crime like, you know, other places. So it's a real blessing. And that way, I do love that you can still get a little outside of town and find that rural lifestyle and be 10 minutes from restaurants and entertainment. So that's what I like best.
There you go. What about what you don't like about Springdale, Arkansas? What's something that you're like, I wish it didn't?
Well, it'd have to be traffic. I hate sitting in traffic. And as you're traveling east to west on that 412 corridor, there's so many lights. It seems like you can't go from here to the corner before there's light. I guess there's a light at every practical corner. But anyway, since we're right downtown here, there's actually some stop signs. But as you get on the 412 corridor going east to west, every quarter mile there's a light, and so it can slow you down sometimes. But like I say, being from Houston originally and having lived in Houston, Seattle, and Tampa, I've seen real traffic, and so I can't complain too much. But that'd be the downside.
Yeah. So one of my favorite things for Springdale is the selection of things to do and eat. So I love the rodeo. I love the demolition derby. The Jones Center has a lot of activities if you want to go ice skating during the winter.
I thought you were going to say I love all the things to eat, but
but I also love they have Punjabi kitchen. They have a great restaurant that my wife and I go to at least once a month or more. They know us. They're like, oh, hey, you usual? Yes. And then right down here off of Emma Street is there's a little taqueria. And right across the street is Black Apple Crossing Cidery, and they allow you to bring in some food from the neighboring restaurants. And so you can go have a flight of ciders that they have like a dozen different flavors, and just a really good space to sit, relax.
When you're down here, if you stop down in downtown Springdale and you've got a hankering for a great burger, you got Big Sexy Foods here on Emma. Fantastic. The owner of Big Sexy Foods, Brent Hale, a guy that I've known for years, he actually won on Guy's Grocery Games, so some wonderful food there as well.
I did not know this.
You didn't? Okay.
But he does have a great name.
He does.
Yeah.
Why is that name familiar?
And so that is our pros and cons video for Springdale, Arkansas. And we would love to connect with you if you're thinking about moving to Northwest Arkansas. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
I'm Alan.
And I'm Brent.
And we are your Living in Arkansas team.